Dark social 20 years ago, someone could, if someone liked or disliked a product, they could tell the three people at the Little League game.
Yep.
Otherwise known as word of mouth. Dark social today can happen at scale through the maturity of the internet, through social networks, content platforms, private communities, third-party events, traditional word of mouth, and other forms of communication that don't get tracked by attribution software and don't create intent data is basically the full definition. And so the difference here is that there's a lot of other, it's still kind of is in the what most people would consider the category of word of mouth, but it acts very differently when instead of me having to text you to tell something, I can put it on Twitter and then 1 million people see it, or 100,000 people see it, or even 50 people see it. There's so much more scale to it and so much more awareness that didn't exist. And another thing that's happening is that consumers over time, they always have trusted their peers in making decisions more than things like affiliate blogs, vendors, and other things. So they would trust more a recommendation from their friend on what soda to buy than what's being advertised at the grocery store, for instance. And so they always have trusted their peers more, but now they know how to get to the people that have the information to decide what to buy. And so they know how to, someone could shoot me a DM and ask me, hey, what type of thing should I buy for this? And I'm going to give them an answer. And the company that I recommend will never know that it came from me. Will think that it was because of their SEO strategy of why they got that customer. And so there's a huge mismatch here between how companies measure the success of marketing and revenue generation versus what's actually happening in real life. And so what they measure, they think these types of things are working. Typically the things that are easiest to measure: SEO and SEM, email marketing, affiliate or review sites or other type of aggregators, versus what's actually driving the impact to create the demand of why the consumer actually buys, which is word of mouth, podcasts, social networks, third-party events, things like that. And so now that we're sort of level set on the fundamental change that's happened, that there's way more scale to word of mouth, and we need to be able to figure out how to put information into the places that people use so that it gets consumed, liked, amplified, shared, discussed, all of these different things that people are doing. A couple of the strategies that I've used from the beginning is that I basically put out the information on LinkedIn that companies pay me $10,000 for a couple of hours for. So I'm basically offer, whether it's in this a podcast format like this, I do a lot of live events where I offer free consulting. I record the free consulting, and then I put it out on LinkedIn to be the best information that people have from someone that's credible and relevant and actually is in the work with 200 companies, so I know what I'm talking about. And so the business that I built underneath it allows me to get all the insights from all the companies that we work with, and then be able to bubble up those insights to what's happening at the macro level or the industry level or the buyer level, and then communicate to the market what are the patterns and things that I'm seeing that other people don't see because they just don't have the same vantage point as me.
So I'll tell you what, man, that actually parallels a lot along the lines of how I'm pushing Florida Risk forward. And that is, I agree wholeheartedly. I think benchmarking and keeping up with the Joneses and FOMO is a huge thing. Maybe not necessarily the angle you were going, but where I'm heading with that is I don't want to just be able to take a prospect and benchmark them against a national average. That's a huge data set. It's credible, I'm sure, but what I want to be able to do is take that same data, calculate the performance and results from the people that are in our agency, capture where were they when we started with them, where are they at 3 years, where are they at 5 years, and then benchmark a new prospect against that. Because I think it captures people attention more. Just the same, I've got all the loss data on my book of business. I've got the premium volume. I can calculate loss ratios and everything else, just like you can take marketing data and use that for your insights. I think that it makes it a much more powerful conversation when you're going to someone who's paying too much for their insurance, but it's due to the risk profile of the account or the loss performance, and you can show them in black and white data and say, but it's okay. I had a lot of people come to us that were like this. And in fact, the average client who came to us was worse than you are right now. Here's where they were after a year, 3 year, 5 years. It makes it really easy to have the conversation and close the deal, honestly.
100%.